The Washington Wizards have a complicated recent history. The media thinks they should cease to exist, the fans are not even going to games anymore, and the casual NBA box score watcher thinks they're putting together the worst rebuild in NBA history. But the truth is, the model is there, and the success is right around the corner. Welcome back to Wigs NBA. You see, in 2019, the Wizards lost John Wall long-term due to injury, and with that came some changes. They fired then general manager Ernie Grunfeld, who was responsible for putting together the John Wall, Bradley Beal era Wizards. In his place, they hired his assistant Tommy Shepard. Yep, you fire one guy and you hire his best friend to replace him. Definitely expecting better results there, right? Shepard was a disaster. His lone highlight was trading a very injury-prone John Wall for Russell Westbrook, who practically hand-carried the team to the playoffs. But then, when he expressed desire to leave, they traded him not for draft picks, but for a handful of role players, none of which are even on this team to this day. The only notable of those role players was Kyle Kuzma, who we traded to obtain now current Wizards Chris Middleton and AJ Johnson, neither of whom seemed like a long-term fit. To give Tommy Shepard credit, he did have a couple decent trades, most notably acquiring Daniel Gafford for now retired player Troy Brown Jr., which then coach Scott Brooks found a perfect role for, raising his value enough to yield a first-round pick for him when we traded him a few years later. And he also was able to get his hands on Kristaps Porzingis for pennies to the dollar, but due to his lack of success, we also had to trade him for practically nothing. After 4 seasons in the mid-30 win total and 1 playoff appearance thanks to Russell Westbrook playing out of his mind, Ted Leonsis, the owner of the Wizards, who by the way is infamous for saying he doesn't believe in tanking, fired Tommy Shepard and hired Michael Winger and Will Dawkins. Winger being more of an overseer for both the Wizards and Mystics, and Dawkins being the GM responsible for all the roster moves. What surprised all Wizards fans is Dawkins got through to Leonsis. He convinced him to be open to the idea of a rebuild. The Wizards, just a year ago, signed Bradley Beal to a new no-trade clause, $250 million contract. First thing Dawkins did, move on from him. The deal ended up being a disaster for the Suns that don't even have him on their roster anymore. And we got our hands on quite a few pick swaps and second-round picks in exchange. So with the roster torn down, the next thing Dawkins had to do was build through the draft. And in 2023, his first draft as GM, he selected Bilal Coulibaly. What this pick did is set the precedent for the rebuild. High upside, long wingspan, physical defensive basketball players, who the goal is to develop offensively. Bilal has yet to really show flashes on offense to this day, but he's consistently locking down the league's best offensive players. He also picked Tristan Vukcevic in this draft, and while he doesn't appear to be a long-term fit, he's shown some flashes on offense, and if you've been a Wizards fan as long as I have, you know that Tristan is probably the best second-round pick this team has had in arguably 10 years. After tanking in 2023, 2024 is when the Wizards really got some good talent through the draft. As I mentioned previously, Daniel Gafford was traded to the Mavericks for a first-round pick. That pick wound up at 24. Dawkins also had his hands on the Wizards' own number 2 pick, and he traded Denny Avdia on draft night for pick number 14. Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, and Kyshawn George were all drafted in the first round. All 3 showed flashes of what the future could really look like. For Sarr, it was rim protection. His offense struggled, especially efficient-wise, but you saw the raw ability on display in a few big games. For Carrington, it was off-the-dribble pull-ups, especially in mid-range. He was automatic in every way in that shot there. And for George, it was 3-and-D ability. He was really solid on ball in generating takeaways and having an average 3-point shot. And all 3 of these players got the nod in the 2024 season to do whatever they wanted and really get those reps in. Then that takes us to the current season, in which the Wizards drafted Trey Johnson at number 6 after getting robbed in the lottery, and Will Riley at 21. Jameer Watkins was also a pickup in the second round, and once again, all 3 of these players are showing out with meaningful minutes. Trey is already one of the league's best shooters. Every time he shoots the ball, it feels like it's going in. He's recently drawn comparisons to Ray Allen and Steph Curry. Incredible company. Will Riley has shown that even if he doesn't have everything ironed out offensively, he can handle the ball at an actually underrated level. And he explodes with energy and effort, never giving up on the play. His 3-point shot has been a little inconsistent, but otherwise, he is getting more comfortable out there. Jameer Watkins has shown he is very good defensively, and while he will need time to put it together on the offensive end, he's actually had a couple good games on that end as well, and the Wizards can always get him into the rotation when they need perimeter defense. He's gone multiple times from DNPs to playing simply because they want somebody to help lock down a player on the perimeter. With the play of these 3 rookies and last year's 3 rookies together, the Wizards had a slow start. notably starting 1-15 on the season. But even with that came some incredible growth. Alex Sarr and Kyshawn George both took massive leaps offensively, higher than anybody expected. Bub Carrington had a slow start this season, but his three-point shot has been incredibly good, and his last 5 games have been phenomenal. Just like any young team, it takes time to figure it out, but hitting on 6 picks in 2 seasons is incredibly impressive for a brand new GM. It's also worth noting that Will Dawkins worked under current Oklahoma City Thunder GM Sam Presti for years, so he learned a thing or two, to say the least, and he's already off to a great start. As of recording this video, the Wizards are 5-4 in their last 9. Doesn't sound like anything the media thinks about this franchise at all, now does it? They have a ton of raw talent, and all of them have proven they're getting better every night. Imagine what this team looks like in 2 to 3 years. Imagine how much better they'll look just next year. This is not only the best young team in the NBA, but the best rebuild in the NBA. Some people calling them for the Thunder of the East is probably an overreaction, but that is the model, that is the goal, and that's the direction they're going in. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you agree that the Wizards are going to be a problem in this league the next couple years.